Welcome to this week's episode of the BreakDown. I'm Mike.
And I'm Austin. On today's show, we'll be discussing the college football rankings, which came out last night. In the NFL, we'll be discussing which NFL teams are Super Bowl contenders or not. And in college basketball, we will go over Week 1 and the LiAngelo Ball situation. And in NBA news, we will discuss the Rookie of the Year conversation.
So I guess, starting off with the college football rankings, coming out last night, do you agree with them? Any surprises for you?
I definitely agree. Top six right now, you got Alabama 1, Clemson number 2, Miami number 3, Oklahoma jumped to number 4, Wisconsin 5, Auburn 6, and Georgia on the outside looking in right now at 7. But I really, after this week in college football, a lot has happened. You had Miami beating Notre Dame in a very convincing victory, and Georgia going down to Auburn. So I like the college football rankings as of this week. I think they're right on.
Yeah, I agree with them. Bama, they're 10-0, had a good solid win against Mississippi State this past week, kind of a grind. They deserve to be number 1. Clemson just being where they were, and I feel, them winning the national championship last year, there's a good reason why they're number 2. But Miami, my goodness. We talked about last week how we felt they were maybe a down-the-road team. This
they
might
proved
be
it
this
right
year.
now.
They're a right now
team.
team. That Rozier's been solid at the quarterback play for them. That defense has just been dominant, forcing turnovers, holding teams to almost no points. They're definitely a this year team. I think they're going to beat Clemson in the ACC championship game.
Yeah, I agree with you on that. Miami, their defense has really put the team, on their back. Last week they played a good Notre Dame team who had some good quarterback play last several weeks, and they made him look really bad. I think they forced 4 turnovers or something like that. Their defense is very opportunistic, and I love the way they play. They play with a lot of pride and a lot of confidence right now.
Yeah, you gotta get the gold chain going on for the
turnover
defense. Yeah, they're definitely a right now team, and I think they will beat Clemson. Their play has just been phenomenal. And they have an easy schedule the rest of the way with Virginia and Pitt. And then, like I said, they would play, if it all went to St. Clemson in the ACC championship game. And I think they'll beat Clemson.
That's going to be a really good matchup. It'll be number 2, number 3 in the ACC championship game. Pretty much see who goes to the college football playoff. I think that game will decide, who does go to the college football playoff. And, as looking at it right now, I really like the way Wisconsin got a lot of respect. They got a big win over Iowa this week, who was ranked top 25. Iowa, as you know, last week they destroyed Ohio State at home. Wisconsin needed a signature win to get some respect around the nation, and they did exactly what they had to do.
They're going to have another opportunity this week playing Michigan to get another signature win.
They take care of business this week. I think you're going to see Wisconsin have a lot of respect around college football.
So say you have an Ohio State versus Wisconsin Big Ten championship. Who do you think wins?
Wisconsin, I want to believe in them. Their defense is playing really good football. I think they're first in defense yards per game in the country right now.
Third in points too.
Yeah, third in points. I really, the way Ohio State has been inconsistent this year. I think Wisconsin goes undefeated, and I think they get to the college football playoff, maybe as a 4 seed. And I really believe in Wisconsin.
Yeah, right now, the way they're playing, I just can't see them losing. And like you were saying, Ohio State's been so inconsistent this year. You just don't know which Ohio State team's going to show up. And then Wisconsin has showed up every game of this year, and that's why they're undefeated. And their defense is just phenomenal. They're the reason they're undefeated.
And, a factor for them, too, they've played the whole season as the underdog. Nobody expected them to be good this year. Even last week's first college football playoff rankings came out. They were number 8. They were undefeated and number 8 in the country, and they're playing right now with a chip on their shoulder. They have a lot to prove to the nation and to the world, and I think that's really going to help them out. And they're playing with a ton of confidence, and look out for Wisconsin.
So, do you feel Wisconsin they have to go undefeated to get into the playoffs? Are we still in that boat? I know we talked about it last week. Do you still feel that they need to go undefeated?
I feel this way. With Auburn beating Georgia, Auburn controls his own destiny. So if they go on to beat Bama in 2 weeks here,
and then go play
play in the SEC championship against Georgia, and they beat Georgia, that would be a 2-loss SEC championship, and you can't not put Auburn in.
I think if Auburn wins out and then they'll be in a 2-loss, you might not see another SEC team get in.
See, that's the scenario that's come up a lot too. Do you say Auburn wins by a field goal against Alabama? Do you still, if they win the SEC championship game, do you put Alabama in, or do you put Auburn in the college football playoff?
See, that'd be tough because you have to think. All right, well, Clemson, Miami play each other. Winner of that, just one of them get in. So I think Miami's going to get in. Then I think Oklahoma gets in. If Wisconsin goes undefeated, they're in. And then you have, in this scenario, Auburn getting in. So, I mean, you just might have Alabama sneak in there as a number 4 spot. When you think about it in that scenario, they might get in still. Because, I mean, you look at it past Georgia at 7. Say Georgia in this scenario wouldn't get in because, they would lose
the SEC championship.
They would lose the SEC championship. Then you have Notre Dame at 8. I don't think Notre Dame deserves to get in.
I think the top 7 teams of the country are going to be your college football playoff. I don't think you look past 7. You got Notre Dame, Ohio State, Penn State, all with 2 losses. I don't believe any of those teams are going to get in unless a lot happens. You have to see a lot of upsets in the coming weeks. So I think your top 4 college football playoff will come from the top 7 in the country. That's just reality right now.
Yeah, my scenario right now from what it's looking like, I mean, it's going to be the SEC champion, Miami, Oklahoma, and Wisconsin. There's my top 4. If I think Wisconsin, I think they win out, and I think they'll be the 4. And I think Miami's going to beat Clemson, so I think Miami will jump to number 2. And I think Bama wins the SEC. I think they'll stay at the 1 seed, and then
I'm not sold on Bama. I mean,
they have a lot of injuries on defense. They have 4 linebackers out for the season.
The way Auburn, played Georgia last week, it was a home game for Auburn. But the way they just went out there and just decimated that Georgia football team. And Alabama, the LSU game, they got outgained in yards, which usually doesn't happen to an Alabama defense. Mississippi State hung a lot of yards on them and put points on the board. I'm not certain that Alabama survives against Auburn. And
I think it's gonna be a good game. It's definitely gonna be a good game. But I just feel Nick Saban is gonna keep his guy. I feel like what happened is Georgia just kind of went in overconfident. They felt like we were the dominant team. We were undefeated. That this game is going to be no problem. And I just don't see that being an issue with
I'm gonna go with a bold prediction. I actually think Miami finishes the year at number 1 and gets into the college football playoff. And I think you're going to see Miami number 1, Oklahoma 2, Wisconsin 3, and my 4th team. I think Georgia gets it done. I think they come back. They show a lot of toughness, a lot of mental toughness, and fighting through adversity. And I think they already have a ticket to the SEC championship game.
They still control their own destiny.
They control their own destiny. So I think either way, they play Alabama, they're going to be facing the 1 team in the country. They beat them, they're in. And if they play Auburn, you get a rematch it's a neutral site, but it's going to be played in Georgia, so it's going to be a real home game for Georgia. I think Georgia, really comes back from that loss, and I think it was a wake-up call for them, and I think Georgia gets into the playoff.
I like it, but yeah, for me, I would say my top 4, when it's all said and done, is going to be Bama, Miami, Oklahoma, Wisconsin. That's my big 4 when it comes in. So
I can see that happening.
Yeah,
so going back to Georgia, what do you think happened to Georgia this week?
Like I was saying, I think Georgia they were a little overconfident. In the first half, you saw a lot of mental mistakes, penalties, especially on the 1 punt in the first half where the guy would call personal. You stopped him, and the personal foul for leaping on the punt. Well, I mean, what are you doing? You're getting the ball back, a chance to score, and then they had a missed field goal to end the half. So there was just a lot of scenarios that Georgia could have done something with, and they had a couple chances for some big plays in the first half for touchdowns too that Fromm just didn't see them. And I think Georgia, hopefully, like you were saying, hopefully this is just a wake-up call. Maybe this is the loss they need to kind of realize, look, hey, there's stuff we can improve on, get better at, but we can still control our destiny. Like, we can still come together and do this.
Yeah, I think it was they're playing at Auburn. It was a hostile environment.
Yep, I agree with that.
They beat themselves early in the game, and they got down. And you can't get down, in a hostile environment like that.
And especially to an SEC team.
To an SEC team. And, Auburn's playing really good football right now. Some people in the nation think they're the best team in college football as a whole right now. I think Georgia's going to be okay. During the game, Jake Fromm, I know, has been the guy for them all year, ever since Jacob Eason went down. He's a true freshman. But, against Auburn, they needed a little spark. I'm kind of surprised they didn't put Jacob Eason in. Do you think you agree with that?
I mean, they've committed to Fromm, and I think they wanted to use it as a learning experience for him, and I think that's a big reason why they keep it in. I do see the point, why not put Easton in, try to get the spark.
I mean, Fromm wasn't playing bad. He wasn't turning the ball over.
I think as a freshman, they were worried if they did that, it would ruin his confidence, and he would think that they are losing the confidence in him as the quarterback. So I felt that Kirby Smart just wanted to show him that, look, we know you're the guy. We know you can do this. We're sticking with you no matter what. And I agree with the decision to leave him in there. Let him learn through this. And hopefully he does, and hopefully like I said, maybe hopefully they control their own destiny, so they're still away from.
Yeah, they definitely control their own destiny. Yeah.
So they definitely can get into the college football play. Like you said, either way they play Auburn. If they say they play Auburn, I mean they get the revenge, so it's like that loss never happened. And if they beat Bama, I mean Bama would be undefeated, so that would put them in. So Georgia definitely controls their own destiny, and hopefully it's a learning experience for them, and they can build from it.
I agree.
But I guess switching gears here, we're going to talk about real or fake Super Bowl contenders. Are the Eagles, to you, are they real or are they fake?
Based on a Super Bowl contender, I think the Eagles are definitely for real. Carson Wentz really playing good football right now. He's going into his second season this year, and I think he's really coming into his own. You look at their wins this year. They had a big win against the Chargers. It was at Los Angeles. They beat the Carolina Panthers at Carolina, who Carolina right now is playing really good football. They beat Denver 51-23. I think the Eagles have a good defense, and then the addition of Jay Ajayi really helps them out in the running game, get a nice little 1-2 punch with him and LeGarrette Blount. And, the Eagles on the season, they're ranked 10th in total defense. So, their defense is playing good football. You got Malcolm Jenkins, safety. Jalen Mills is having a good season. And their offense is just, you're getting better and better with the addition of Jay Ajayi, already ranked 4th in the NFL in total offense. You got Alshon Jeffrey as wide receiver, Nelson Aguilar. So I think this team is a real Super Bowl contender. Have a little tough schedule coming up. You're really going to see what they're about. They play at Dallas twice. They go at Seattle, at Los Angeles, so you're really going to see what they're about. So, kind of moving on here to the Saints, another team that we want to talk about. You think the Saints are real or fake?
I think they're definitely real. I mean, just look at their stats. I mean, they're offensively second in yards per game, 5th in passing, 3rd in rushing, 2nd in rushing since week 2, since starting the year out 0-2. And they're 3rd in scoring. And their defense, my gosh, since those first 2 losses, talk about coming back. I mean, they're 1st in yards per game since week 2, and 1st in passing defense since week 2, and then they're 2nd in points per game since week 2. I mean, that's just outstanding. And, I mean, don't forget, this team is great as their defense is, but nobody expected this defense to be this great. I mean, Marshawn Lattimore, the dude's a rookie, and he's 1st in PFF Pro Football Focus ranking. Not just for rookies, for all cornerbacks.
Yeah.
I mean, that is just
Saints
phenomenal.
are playing really well right now.
They're playing real. I agree. And then, Drew Brees as your quarterback, who has a ring.
This is a kind of a different Saints team you're seeing. Drew Brees not really slinging it across the yard like you're used to seeing here down in New Orleans. You got a really good running game with Alvin Kamara and Mark Ingram. I really want to give a shout out to that offensive line though this past week against Buffalo, going into a hostile environment, and the Saints as a team rushed for over 300 yards rushing, and that offensive line just really put in a lot of work this season, and they're playing really good football.
Yeah, Alvin Kamara. Who would have predicted he'd be doing what he's doing this early? Mark Ingram. That man has run angry this season. He is
definitely a man on a mission.
Definitely a man on a mission. And I think the Adrian Peterson signing fueled him to get better. And both those guys. Just Mark Ingram. He's had. Since week 2, he's had 3 games over 100 yards rushing. He's been running mad. He has 7 total touchdowns on the year. The Saints are definitely a for real team, and I definitely watch out for them.
You look at their schedule. Look out for 2 weeks. They go at Los Angeles. That's going to be a really good game, shootout. Really going to test both teams to see what they're all about.
Yeah, I think. You look at their schedule. This team can easily finish 12-4.
I agree.
They have a game against Washington this week at home. Should win. The Rams game is on the road. That'd be tough. They will probably. I could see them losing that game. So you're all right. So there they are, 8-3. Well, then they play Carolina. They should beat them. Then at Atlanta, I think that will be the 4th game they lose. And then it's New York. and then Atlanta at home, and then Tampa. I mean, they should win their last 3 games and finish 12.
I think they'll split with Atlanta. Maybe lose a game to either at Los Angeles or sneak one. Maybe Washington with an upset this week. Washington, is a good team. They're just not really playing well at this point in time. But I think the Saints are definitely the hottest team in the NFL, and look out for them in the playoffs.
Yeah, 7 straight wins. They're definitely the hottest team. So, I guess another team. Steelers, real or fake to you?
I think I'm gonna go with fake for the Steelers. They have a lot of this season. They've had a lot of stuff in the locker room going on with Antonio Brown and Ben Roethlisberger saying that maybe he wasn't playing well, and he said that maybe he was actually done as a football player considering retirement. They've won 4 in a row ever since they lost to Jacksonville. It was a really embarrassing loss to Jacksonville. They lost 30-9 in Week 5, but ever since then, they have good wins at Kansas City. Another win at Cincy at home. Then they played at Detroit, who's a talented football team, beat them. So I think they're fake as a Super Bowl contender. I like the Patriots and the AFC, but the Steelers. I think the thing that's keeping the Steelers in this season is their defense. They're ranked first in overall defense. They're playing good on that side of the ball, which is typical Pittsburgh Steeler fashion. But I'm gonna go with fake on them.
Yeah, I think they're fake because I just feel offensively this is not a Super Bowl team with them. Their defense is definitely they have the defense to be a Super Bowl team. But Big Ben he's been a little inconsistent this year. And then Martavis Bryant being the off the field issue. Antonio Brown having the sideline tantrum. I mean, Le'Veon Bell's having a great year. He's having a Le'Veon Bell type season, but I just think down the line offense is not enough to.
Yeah, and I think Big Ben showed that he's not the same Big Ben that he used to be. And this year he's turning the ball over a little more. He has 10 interceptions on the season, and his completion percentage is not really where it needs to be. I think for them to be successful, but come playoff time, anything can happen. But as of right now,
yeah, I mean they could. I mean, they're a team their veteran team. Mike Tomlin's been there as a coach. They're definitely a team that could find it in the playoffs and make a run to the Super Bowl. I don't see them.
Another thing too that Martavis Bryant issue early in the season. I think keeping him on the team is really going to affect them come playoff time. It's very, very out there that he doesn't want to be a Pittsburgh Steeler anymore, and he wanted to trade. They decided they were going to keep him as kind of as a punishment and bench him for a couple games. But I think that's going to come back to bite them come playoff time because they're going to need no distractions.
Yeah, in the playoff time, you need no distractions whatsoever. So I definitely feel him. I just feel offensively, Big Ben not being. You can kind of see that Father Time is starting to catch up with him a little bit. And they have the talent to make a run. I just don't see when it comes to playoff time. I don't see it coming together and them making the Super Bowl.
Me neither. Another team, kind of a surprise team this year in the NFC West. The Los Angeles Rams. How do you feel about them? Real or fake?
I think they're real. I think Sean McVay has made them a very real team. I mean, offensively, they have just been. My gosh, I mean, talk about turning Jared Goff around. I was already starting calling him a bust after his rookie year, the way he looked. And Sean McVay's really turned his career around early. And Sean McVay's proven he's the right guy to the coach. I mean, Jared Goff, he has a 61 completion percentage. He's thrown almost 2,500 passing yards. He's got 16 touchdowns, only 4 interceptions. And then, don't forget, Todd Gurley is Todd Gurley again this year. He has 754 rushing yards. 7 touchdowns rushing. I mean, the dude has just been proven that he's there's a reason they picked him to be 10th row. And their defense, 3rd in the league in points per game, only giving up 18 points a game. They have all the pieces to be a right now team. The only real question for them is, Sean McVay being a real coach when it gets to playoff time, will he have the decision making and the focus to really take them to the Super Bowl? I think they have the talent to be in the Super Bowl. I think honestly, it's all about coaching down the line. Yeah,
they're a young team as far as experience goes in playoffs. Jared Goff in his second season, Todd Gurley has been to the playoff, in his 3rd season. So then Sean McVay being a young coach, I think that's definitely a question to look for come playoff time, whether they can have the experience to go forward. But like you said, their offense right now, he's turned that offense around. They're 1st in the league in scoring. They're playing great football. They've had several blowout wins the last couple of weeks. They're a hot team in the NFL along with the Saints and the Eagles. So I think they have a tough schedule coming up though. Coming up soon. I know they play the Saints at home. They play Philly at home.
You have to play Seattle and Tennessee.
Yeah, and Minnesota's on their schedule coming up. So, We're really gonna find out about Los Angeles.
We're gonna find with the remaining schedule they have. We're gonna find out if they're for real. I could see them finishing 11-5, but at the same time, I can see them finishing 9-7 with as tough a schedule that is. So we are definitely. I think they are for real team, but we are definitely gonna see of this remaining schedule if they are a legit.
I agree.
Contender.
I agree with that.
So I guess switching to another team here, going to the South, Carolina Panthers.
Fake. Not even a question.
Fake?
Look, I don't like Carolina. I'm gonna be honest with you. I know they had a big win against Miami on Monday Night Football this past week, but I just they don't really pass the eye test. They traded Kelvin Benjamin, their leading receiver, who I thought was really the guy that him and Cam Newton had a connection with. They traded him to the Buffalo Bills. I just this season, they're ranked fifth in offense, fifth in total defense. But I think the thing, they're ranked 13th in pass defense. Has kind of been a problem for them ever since Josh Norman left. So I think they're fake. But and then they're in a tough division too. You got Atlanta Falcons up. They had a big win, playing good football. The Saints are hot. So I just don't think they have enough pieces to be a real Super Bowl contender.
I felt like then they just lost Curtis Samuel for the season. You're like thinking, if you're a Panthers fan, you're thinking, we just traded Benjamin, and as soon as we do that, we lose Samuel for the year.
And they expected Samuel to really step up. That's why I think they traded Benjamin. They felt he was ready.
They felt Funch was ready to be the number one, and they felt Samuel was ready to kind of take over that number 2 spot, and then it's just heartbreaking to see that happen.
They drafted Christian McCaffrey too out of Stanford in the first round, and I think he's had some good games, but he really hasn't been the consistent player that they wanted him to be. They expected him to be more of a scat back type guy, kind of like what the Saints are doing with Alvin Kamara in New Orleans. But he really hasn't, stepped up and lived up to that hype. Cam Newton, he's led the team in rushing 4 times this year. That's not really something you want to see from your starting quarterback. So I think they're fake at this point in the season.
Yeah, I think they're fake. I just feel the Benjamin trade really, hurts them more than people think. And then losing Samuel now, so now I feel they have a receiving problem. They really need Greg Olsen to come back as soon as possible after all these injuries happening. And their defense is, it's not bad, but it's not. It's not great. Luke Kuechly's great. They have great players in that defense, but in the secondary wise, I feel they could do a little better. And I feel they just with too much talent in the NFC for them to be a real contender. And like I said, losing too many pieces, I just feel they're fake as well. I agree with you on that one.
Yeah. So going up north now to the Minnesota Vikings in the NFC North. How do you feel about them?
They are. You want to know why they're fake? 2 words: Case Keenum. That is why
he's playing good football, though.
He's playing good football, and I'm glad. The Houston guy playing good football. I'm glad. I like Case Keenum. He's a solid guy, but he's not He's not the guy you want to call your quarterback if you're trying to be a Super Bowl team. He's played good the past 2 weeks here. This past week he had his his second 300-yard passing game of the season. And then week play at 288. He's playing solid. He's doing enough for them with that defense. Their defense is phenomenal. They're 5th in yards per game, they're 3rd in rushing, 5th in points. Their defense is definitely legit. It is a Super Bowl worthy defense. No question about it. No doubt in my mind. That defense has what it takes to be a Super Bowl. This team, all they need is quarterback. I guess the real question is, do you put Teddy back in over Case?
I was thinking the same. I was going to ask you. I personally think that come playoff time or before the end of the season, I think Teddy Bridgewater is going to be the starting quarterback for the Minnesota Vikings. Do you agree?
I feel that's so. It's hard. You're 7-2. Case Keenum's been your guy for most of the season. Except for week 1 and week 2, that's when he took over the job.
But the moment he starts to struggle that's when they're going to.
Yes, I agree. If he starts to struggle, you have to think about it because Teddy was the guy before he went down with that freak injury to his knee. Yes, that's going to be in the back of your mind. Do we put Teddy back in to see what this guy can do? But the real question is, will Case Keenum come back down? I feel it's a matter of time before he comes back down to earth. But maybe what if he keeps playing like this? How do you bench him?
If he keeps playing like this, I think he does become a starter. He does continue to be the starter. But knowing Case Keenum, I think that as soon as he starts to struggle, you're going to see Teddy Bridgewater name get called. He's going to come into the.
I think if Case Keenum has one bad game where he say he struggles, has 3 interceptions, and it just has terrible completion percentage, I could see Teddy coming in. Now the key is, if Teddy comes in and doesn't play well, then that's a real question. Do we go back to Case, or do we stick with Teddy now? But if Teddy comes in, if say that moment happens, and Teddy goes in and plays well, without a doubt, Teddy's got his job back.
I think the way their team's set up, they don't really need a star quarterback. They have good defense. They run the ball pretty well consistently.
They have a nice committee now. It hurt. I mean, losing Dalvin Cook early.
That really hurt them.
He was having a great rookie year until he got hurt.
But I think right now they're Case Keenum's being a good game manager, and I think if he does start to struggle, I think Teddy Bridgewater will come in and be the same type of player, a game manager. They won't ask too much of him. Maybe it's just me rooting for Teddy Bridgewater because of what happened to him. I really happy for that guy.
Yeah, for him, I would really want to see him get better because I was definitely hurt to see that happen to him. With him being such a talented player now, he's kind of like a game manager, the type of player. But with that defense, that's really all they need. But I just feel Case Keenum is not the answer for that team to really be. Even if Sam Bradford was healthy, then maybe they're a real contender.
Maybe you're looking at it different. But Bradford that's been his problem his whole career. Being unhealthy.
Being unhealthy. I mean, back when they were the St. Louis Rams, that was definitely his problem was getting hurt. But I think a lot of that due to the O-line. It's just even constantly getting hit. But, I mean, Sam Bradford's got to get healthy. I think it's good that they shut him down for the year. Just let the dude get healthy and see what he can do next year, maybe quarterback competition. But I would definitely say Vikings are fake.
Fake. So, kind of switching over here to NBA action here. Lonzo Ball was a high draft pick, second overall to Los Angeles Lakers. His father's in the media a lot.
Yeah, I already see where this question's going.
Unwanted publicity. He struggled, this season early on. Do you think that's a concern? Or
No. And I know people are going to be like, well, field goal percentage-wise, he's one of the worst. He's a rookie. At the end of the day, I mean, wonder why people are so worried about this? It's because of his dad. His dad was talking like he was going to be the GOAT, the God, and whatever you want to call him, like immediately. As soon as he came in the league, people were thinking, this guy is going to be a stud right away. And I think that's a lot of people, but he's a rookie. He's had good moments this year. I'm not worried about it. If people are saying, well, maybe it's the way he shoots it. He's been shooting like that his whole life. This is how I feel when it comes to shooting the ball. Shoot it how you're comfortable. It could be the ugliest looking thing ever, but if that's how you're comfortable shooting, shoot it. I mean, my gosh, I've seen some ugly shot forms in my time of watching basketball.
In the NBA, too, you got a lot of guys have been successful with ugly shot forms. For me, I think Lonzo Ball has a lot of unwanted, unrealistic expectations from his dad. Obviously when he was in college and his dad was hyping him up a lot. He was better than Curry, better than Westbrook. So I think that really hurts him in the media. If you look at his stats, so he's averaging 9 points a game. Just over 7 assists and over 6 rebounds. That's good stats for a rookie. He's doing really well.
Overall, he's having a good season. I mean, if you're a rookie on a team that's having those kind of stats, most cases you're going to be very happy about. Yes. But like I said, it's just the hype that was put on him is why people are saying, man, he's really struggling. Yes, the field percentage be better. You want it to be better. And I think it will get better. He's a rookie. It's going to get better. Give him time to learn the NBA game and to kind of find how he can attack defenders in this league, and he'll be fine. I think his game...
I think if his name is not Lonzo Ball, we're not having this discussion.
Oh, absolutely. If his name's not Lonzo Ball, we probably don't even bring him up in the show except for him having a solid rookie season.
Yeah, I think...
But because he's Lonzo Ball and his dad's LeVar Ball, that's why we're talking about this. I mean, the field goal percentage, yes, like I said, you want it to be higher, but I mean, what I really like about Lonzo Ball is the assist. He is not... And he honestly, legitimately cares. All he cares about is the W.
And he makes his teammates better.
He does make his teammates better. I would say he's not afraid to pass the ball. Like I said, I've seen some good plays from him. Not just shooting one, passing one. Most of his plays have been because of his passing. I mean, like I said, he's the point guard of the future for Los Angeles. I'm not saying he's gonna be Magic Johnson like his dad and has been saying and stuff. But he's definitely going to be a good player. He's definitely a cornerstone of that franchise.
I think Lonzo Ball is going to be a really good player in this league. Going back to his shooting form, that's not really a concern for me neither. Look at a guy like Sean Marion with the Phoenix Suns back in the day. He had an ugly shooting form too, but he was a very good career and he shot a good percentage from the three-point line. So I don't think the shooting is going to be a problem. He's just a rookie. He's going through some growing pains, getting adjusted to the physicality of the NBA. But give him some time. This guy's going to be a really good player in this league.
I think he's going to be a star in this league. I really honestly believe.
And he's a hard worker too. He's not really a talking guy. He doesn't really go out and talk to the media and talk a lot of trash. He just goes to work. He cares about W's, and I think he makes his teammates better in the locker room, not just on the court. But he's a good leader for that basketball team, young basketball team.
Yeah, I think he's definitely a cornerstone of that future. But I'll tell you this: his brother already making headlines. Already leading the college basketball in steals already.
Yeah, man. I mean, I don't really know what to think about that.
That's just stupidity. I mean, you're in another country, you're representing your school, and you're going to do something like that. And they came out today saying that they suspended all 3 players indefinitely, which I agree with.
I agree with that too.
Because I mean, that's hard to figure out an exact time, deadline.
Yeah.
Like how long do you spend? I think it definitely until they figure out a good game number. I think it definitely is a smart decision.
And I think the thing with that situation is UCLA going overseas and playing in China, and him and a couple other, I think it was a couple other UCLA freshmen get caught shoplifting. But I think the thing about that situation is that it's not yet resolved, so you can't really put a game number on when he's going to be available. So I think the suspension as of right now is really good. But my question to you is, do you think as a whole, do you think this is because of the publicity that his father has given the whole family, and maybe his brother and him being the middle brother not really getting as much attention?
It's definitely because when I saw the update, I got it as Leandro Ball and 2 other UCLA players.
Yeah.
If it wasn't for his dad, it would be the update would be 3 UCLA players get arrested, but because he's Ball, that's why it made such headline news.
So do you think when you're young, you make a lot of mistakes, as we all know. Do you think that's the reason, or do you think it's more of him, not having enough attention and being kind of out of the spotlight, trying to get?
I think he's just young and he's just made a dumb mistake. Hopefully, he learns from it. I don't know him personally, so I don't know how he is as a person. But I think he's just a young kid making a dumb mistake, and that hopefully he learns from it.
I hope he sees it as a kind of a wake-up call. His brother's very successful, and his younger brother is supposed to be very successful in high school right now. Highly touted player coming out of high school, going to UCLA in a couple of years. So I think if he uses this as a mistake and he learns from it, he should be fine. But I just hope that he doesn't go down the wrong path and continue to get in trouble.
Yeah, I hope he doesn't either, because definitely out of the 3 brothers, he's definitely the one that gets the lowest amount of publicity. So I saw what you were going with that question. So yeah, hopefully he kind of finds the right path and kind of just sticks with it and makes a good life. I mean, I don't know if he'll be in the NBA. Honestly, I'm not sure. So we'll just see. But I guess kind of switching it. We're talking about Lonzo. I mean, rookie of the year, NBA.
I like Ben Simmons.
You like Ben Simmons?
I think he's the player that they want him to be. He's averaging 17 points a game, almost 18 points a game actually, 7 assists and 9 rebounds. I think he's having the best rookie season since LeBron.
Yeah, Ben Simmons. I mean, overall, I feel like the only competition to Ben Simmons really has been Dennis Smith from Dallas, who's been. I mean, he's had some highlight dunks this year. He's averaging 16 points a game, 5 assists, 4 rebounds. I mean, he's having a good year. But yeah, I mean, you look at Ben Simmons, almost 18 points a game, 1 block, almost 2 steals, 7 assists, 9 rebounds. I mean, how is he not rookie of the year?
I think he had that triple double too. I think
overall, he's been. Not just rookie wise, he's been one of the best players in the league this year. So without a doubt, I agree. Ben Simmons is definitely
the hype was real when he came out of college.
Yeah. So I guess kind of switching it, kind of going down to the kids, college basketball. You had you had some big games yesterday.
Yeah,
who did you like? I mean,
I'm gonna tell you. Last night we saw Kansas face off against Kentucky in a big showdown, and you had Duke in the earlier game play Michigan State, a team that I like, and I really think they're gonna go really far in the tournament and have a chance at a national championship this year. Is Duke? They're very talented. They got Traven Duval, highly touted point guard. For them in this year's recruiting class. They got Marvin Bagley playing. He's another highly touted recruit.
Early, but he was looking great this year. Before that,
and Duval, he's playing great basketball now. I think last night he had somewhere around 17 and 10 assists. Another guy to look out for Duke. They have a mixture of young talent plus some veterans. Grayson Allen, man. I mean, he's a senior. He's had some stuff on the court. Some kind of trouble, kind of people saying he was a dirty player, forced him to come back for a couple more years. I think Grayson Allen is going to be the key to that team. Look for him to be a Naismith Basketball Player of the Year.
Oh, I absolutely agree. 37 points, 7-11 from 3. Grayson Allen was a man on a mission last night, especially when Bagley went down. He took it upon himself to really bring that team to that W. Like, he wanted that win, and I mean, the senior, though, the vet. It's hard to 4-year seniors, you don't really see him that often now in college basketball. Right. So, I mean, to see him do what he did, I mean, if it's early, but the season into today, he's definitely player of the year. without a doubt.
I think so, without a doubt.
I mean, but like going on what you said, I mean, they have a great team with Duval at 17-10, and then they have Wendell Carter, 12 points, 12 rebounds. I mean, Bagley got hurt early, so we don't really know what he would have been. But I mean, he's great. So yeah, the Duke team, they look definitely like they are the team to beat. But another game, I mean, another team that look good is Kansas. It was only a 4-point win, but there was like Azubuike, the center for them. My, that is a big man. I mean, 13 points, 8 rebounds. I know that doesn't sound dominant, but I mean, watching the game, he definitely had control in that game.
Kentucky couldn't match up last night with Azubuike from Kansas. They really had a hard time keeping him off the glass and controlling the paint. If he would have made some more free throws, he would have had a more dominant game.
The team that I definitely feel needs to do a little work is definitely Kentucky. To me, I was watching the game, and Knox for Kentucky, I mean, he seems like he's the real only star.
They don't have any.
Team.
To me, they don't have any perimeter shooting. Knox, I think, was through the first half and into the second half, he was the only guy on their team to make a 3-point basket.
Yeah, he was. He was literally the only guy on the team to make a basket. He had 3 threes. Nobody else made one.
Yeah, so they're going to struggle with that. I think Kentucky's not going to be that good this year. I mean, they're going to be good enough to make the tournament, but I don't see them being a contender in the NCAA.
No, I don't. I just feel that they have a lot of guys. Unless they improve dramatically, they need guys to step up. There's got to be more than just Knox. Diallo.
I mean, they have some good.
Diallo's talented, but he didn't play well last night. So I mean, they need guys to step up.
They have some good talent. They have Nick Richards is a pretty good recruit for them. But nobody really stepped up last night and helped out Knox.
Yeah, I do think Michigan State, kind of going back to them, I think Michigan State, I mean, it was a tough loss, but I think they'll be a good team. I mean, Bridges played well in the second half. Jackson was good for them. Ward was good. I mean, all three had 19 points. So I think Michigan State's gonna be a good team. You'll see them in the tournament. They'll be a top.
Oh, they're always pretty.
They'll be a top 2 seed. Yeah. I feel they will definitely be. So, but I definitely see Duke as
Duke's the most talented team.
Yeah, the most talented team in college basketball I'm watching right now. So I guess as we said last week to finish our show, stud of the week. Who is your stud of the week?
Well, like we just said, my stud of the week is very simple. I really thought Grayson Allen for Duke really stepped up this week and last night. With Marvin Bagley going out, he carried their team offensively last night. He had 37 points, like he said, 7 of 11 from 3. He's playing good on the season. He's averaging 25 points on the season. That is the kind of senior leadership that makes Duke, I think, they separate. He on that team separates Duke from the rest of the field in college basketball because he's a senior. He has leadership. He's been there, done that, and he knows what it takes to get to the NCAA tournament and play well.
I like it, but my stud of the week, man, got to be Adrian Claiborne from the Falcons. 6 sacks, 13 total pressures, 2 forced fumbles. Oh my God, 6 sacks in the NFL. I mean, that's
amazing. I saw that
insane.
game. I actually watched that game.
I know he was going to get to backup left tackle, but to me, he's still in the NFL. It does not matter. Backup, starter. I mean, 6 sacks is 6 sacks. It was a great performance.
I watched that game, and he just tore up that left tackle. That left tackle, I mean, he had a rough day. I'm sure the Dallas Cowboys called him out in the film room because Adrian Claiborne lit him up for 6 sacks.
Yes, and the Falcons as a whole had 8. That O-line.
Big win for the Falcons.
Big win for the Falcons. And I mean, Adrian Claiborne, hopefully we get to have him as a stud of the week later in the year, but definitely, without a doubt, my stud of the week for this year. So, I mean, yeah, it's definitely the stud of the week. And I guess to close out the show, you got anything you want to say to close out the show?
I just want to thank everybody for listening to our show last week and continuing to support us and stay tuned for more episodes going forward. Give us some feedback, what you like, what you didn't like, what we can do better. We'd love to hear from you, and thanks for listening.
Yep, I agree. Please keep listening and stay tuned every Wednesday for more episodes. And we appreciate all of our followers that supporting us and keep listening.
I want to give a shout out to my mom and dad. Just want to say I love y'all.
Oh, that's sweet. That's just genuinely sweet love. So, all right. Well, thank you for listening to BreakDown with Mike and Austin, and good night, America.